Today we're going to take a closer look at something that's a little different from our norm, but it's got two wheels, a motor, and it's fast, which is always a recipe for fun. And this awesome little scooter from Ausom,
See what I did there?
is called the Leopard, and we're going to take it for a spin in the city and play with it off-road too as we go over all of the nitty-gritty details that you need to know. First up, let's dive in how easy the assembly process is once it arrives at your door. After cracking the box open, you'll find that they've packaged this thing well enough to where it can take a pretty good beating during the whole shipping process, but as a forewarning, you're going to have a ton of little styrofoam pieces to get rid of afterwards. And when it comes to the assembly process, once you check out the detailed owner's manual, you'll see that it's as easy as can be, as all you have to do is unfold the stem and mount the handlebar with 4 bolts, and bam, you're done. Well, unless you want to mount the seat, but we'll get to that part a little later. Now that we've got her assembled and ready to ride, let's dive into some of the details and specs on it as I offer up my thoughts on what it's like to ride it. And first up is what's making this electric scooter go, and we've got a single 1000 watt brushless motor at the rear, and it's paired up with a 48 volt 998 watt hour battery that pumps out 20.8 amp hours. But what does that mean in layman's terms? Well, those specs will help propel you to a max speed of 34 miles per hour with a total power output of 25 newton meters of torque, or for those of us in the US, about 18 foot-pounds of torque. Now, one thing to keep in mind though is that the advertised top speed is with a 165-pound rider, and for me at almost 200 pounds, I could only squeeze out about 30 miles per hour, give or take, on flat ground, depending on the wind and road conditions, but there were instances where I could hit the advertised 34 mark on relatively flat-ish surfaces. Now, the cool part about those speeds is that you can control how fast you want it to go with different modes, and all of that is done via the LCD display. To power it and the scooter on, all you've got to do is turn the key and hit the power button, then you'll see it power up and display all of the information you need to know, from your speed to your odometer and trip meter, as well as your battery and voltage levels, your turn signals, and so on. Wait, turn signals? Yep. Not only does it have a bright LED headlight, but you've got front and rear turn signals with a simple switch assembly on the handlebars to control it all. And it doesn't stop there, as you also have a brake light too, which, needless to say, definitely helps you out if you're wanting to hit the streets on this thing. Circling back around to how fast it is though, you can adjust the speeds it'll hit via 3 different modes, and to change them, you simply tap the power button to cycle through them. To help you hit those speeds are a set of 10 by 3 inch tires with a dual sport design, so you can not only hit the pavement, but play off-road too. And I gotta say, getting used to wheels this small takes a minute if you're not used to ripping around on scooters like this, to which I'm not, so I'd suggest taking it slow at first, or it can bite you real quick. Naturally, smaller wheels won't roll over obstacles in the road as easy as larger wheels, but I didn't find that to be a problem at all while trekking around town on this thing. However, while playing off-road, you have to be a lot more mindful of the terrain, as the soft stuff can present a challenge, as well as massive rocks, ruts, and so on, but surprisingly enough, it handled some light off-roading with ease. But it wouldn't be able to handle some off-road fun if it wasn't for the front and rear suspension on this scooter that really helps soak up the bumps, so you can head just about anywhere and not have to slow down. And yes, they really help when off-roading, but it's a huge benefit on-road too, as you don't have to worry about slowing down for things that a normal scooter would have to slow down for when ripping around. Now, what if you wanted to be a little lazy and not stand up to scoot around? Well, you've got this seat that's included, and it's super easy to install with only 4 bolts to hold the mount down, and then you can just slide your seat in there and you're good to go. And thankfully, you can adjust the seat height easily with only 1 lever, and you can also fold the seat down in only 1 second after unlocking the folding mechanism. My favorite part about the seat though is that it not only has springs, but the stem has a spring too, so you've got plenty of suspension to help soak up the bumps, and it helps out enough to where you can hit just about anything and not care. That also ties us into some things that are adjustable on this scooter, as if you switch from standing to sitting while riding, or just aren't comfortable with the overall handlebar placement, it's adjustable. You've got 3 different bar heights to choose from, and it's as easy as releasing the main latch, then push the pin in and slide it to the height you want. For me, at 6'2", I had it in the highest setting while standing to ride, and when I put the seat on, I dropped it to the lowest point for the best feel. Plus, if you're ready to pack it up and throw it in the car, it's super easy to unlock the handlebar stem and fold it down with a little hook to latch onto the rear, so you can easily pick it up and throw it where you need it. And one big thing that I've got to give props to on this scooter is just how sturdy the stem is on it. With a lot of them out there, they can be a little flimsy with some play in there, but on this one, it's as tight as can be.
That's what she said. Seriously, Kevin.
Now, going fast on these is fun and all, but you've got to have a way to slow it down, and that brings us over to the brakes, where you've got a set of mechanical disc brakes front and rear that are paired up with 140mm rotors. And while I'd love to see a hydraulic setup, these offer plenty of power to stop this thing on a dime, but if you'd like some additional assistance when braking, you also have e-braking within the motor. And the cool part is, that's one of the many things you can adjust when going into the hidden menu on this scooter by quickly pressing the power button 3 times. You can not only adjust the percentage of e-braking in 5 different increments, but you can also control how aggressive the motor delivers its power when starting off and more. But that's an entirely different video on its own. Now, after getting to ride this e-scooter around for a bit, what do I think about it? In all honesty, I'm having fun with it. Yes, you can't do some of the things as well as you could do on a motorcycle or bicycle and so on, but it brings a new feeling to the table and different possibilities. And when I say new feeling, I'm referring to how it feels when you're standing up and riding this thing. It feels like you're just floating along amongst people in their cars and while they're walking and so on. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it's pretty cool. And on the different possibilities front, I think this is the perfect pit bike when compared to using a small motorcycle or bicycle to get around a large event and things like that, due to its small size and being so easy to tote around with you without taking up a ton of space when packing it up. Kinda like the new Honda Motocompacto that we did a video on a little while back, but a lot more capable. However, it's nowhere near as small. With all of that being said though, what would I change on it? Personally, I think it'd be cool to see a set of folding foot pegs that extend out from the 8.3-inch wide footboard. Why? Well, when standing up, you've got plenty of room to move your feet around to find a position that's most comfortable for you, but when you're using the seat, you're a little limited. If you had some pegs to fold out and place your feet on, it'd be perfect, and the board sits up high enough to where it wouldn't really limit your clearance when leaning it over, as you're not really going to be railing on this thing like you would on a sport bike, so I don't think that'd be a major issue. Those are just some of my thoughts though, and now I'm curious, what do you guys think about this electric scooter? And do you think Honda should jump in this market? These videos aren't just for me to ramble on, so let's talk about it all down in the comments section. And if you're interested in more information and possibly purchasing one of these, I'll have a discount code in the description, and the links do help support what I'm doing here at no extra cost to you. Thanks for watching though, and a big thank you to our supporters for helping to keep this train chugging along, and we'll see you guys in the next one.